Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Joe here of the Joe Madden Sports Show. Joined today by such a special guest, Nate Griffin here with me. Nate, happy almost Thanksgiving. How's Wednesday treating you?
Wednesday's good. I'm actually sitting here in the Brian Patterson Center. This is where Rice University is located, and football practice is underway. So we're getting ready for our game on Saturday against North Texas after the morning show on Fox. And so just having a good time, doing what I like doing.
How exciting is that atmosphere right now at that practice today, Nate?
Well, I think a lot of people are excited. Rice needs one more win to become bowl eligible, although there is a possibility that they can still get to a bowl with 5 wins based on their APR, which has to do with their academic record. So it's just a matter of guys playing well on Saturday, doing what they need to do to get the win that they really want to get, so that they can be bowl eligible with 6 wins.
Absolutely. I'm rooting for you guys. I think you guys can pull it off. You guys seem to have the heart of lions out there.
We do, and I think all you have to do is look over at Minute Maid Park, where the Astros are located. You got
Yeah.
Dusty Baker over there, and I'm hoping, I'm not quite sure, what's going to happen with Justin Verlander, but his market value right now is at about 45 million, and I think he's seeking a contract somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years. I don't even want to tell you how much money it is because I can't fathom how much money that is.
Yeah, it's crazy what some of these players are making, but rightly so, I really feel, because they're there for our entertainment at the end of the day, and what their bodies go through is just absolutely insane, which you would know.
Well, you got to remember this guy is just voted a couple of days, actually last night. Was that last Tuesday night? Tuesday night, Player of the Year, comeback Player of the Year in Major League Baseball. And
Yeah.
the fact that he did not play in 2021, he spent the entire year rehabbing from Tommy John surgery. Then he comes back and has a Cy Young Award year, wins a Cy Young Award, has the lowest ERA in the league for the year, and also has 18 wins. So you're talking about a guy who's really done. Also, finally got his first win in the World Series, and then the Astros win the World Series. So yeah, he had one heck of a year. He's deserving of whatever money he can make.
Absolutely. Okay, Nate, let's turn this to talking about you. How did you get
Okay.
started in the industry?
Well, played college ball, and I think that had a lot of bearing on me being able to have an opportunity to work in this business. I initially wanted to work as a color analyst, which I'm doing right now for Rice Football on radio broadcast. But what it did, it actually traversed into working in the industry on a full-time basis as a morning sports reporter. I started in radio, had a lot of fun in radio, and I posted something a few days ago, the passing of Fred Hickman. Well, that was significant to me because I actually worked with his former wife. I had an opportunity to work along with her, and that's how I actually got started. She did news, I did sports, and so on a local radio station. And so that particular job at that station happened to blossom into something bigger, where I got an offer to work at a bigger radio station that covered all three professional sports. And from that point on, the career took off.
Oh, I love it. Where'd the love of sports come from, though? Did you come from a super competitive family? Were you playing football as a wee little kid?
Well, my dad loved baseball, and I kind of wish
Okay.
I had. Yeah, my dad loved baseball. My mom loved basketball and baseball. She wasn't too crazy about me playing football. But in terms of competitiveness, I didn't have a brother. I had a sister. Loved my sister. She was a cheerleader, so it was me and the boys in the neighborhood, and that's how I grew up. I grew up loving sports through their eyes, through them,
Okay.
through their bigger brothers, and today we have that same relationship. So through high school, that relationship continued through college, and a lot of my friends today are from high school and college. We still have those good relationships where we talk about how it was playing sports when we were growing up. So that's where the love of sports came from. My dad was baseball. I learned about Jackie Robinson and Willie Mays and all those guys from baseball. Not so much football, but I have to tell you this, and I have to be completely honest with you. I'm going to be
Yeah.
transparent. My favorite football player when I was growing up was O.J. Simpson. I was
Okay.
glued to the television set
Yeah.
when he was running the football because at any moment he could go 60. And
Oh,
so him
absolutely.
and Tony Dorsett, was the other one. And so there were quite a few good. Franco Harris. I go back in the day, where there were great football players. That's where the love of sport came from. and
Yep.
understand what those guys did. Basketball as well, Michael, Julius Erving, all those guys who, really served us well.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal athletes there on the field. Nate, what was it like playing college football for you?
Mm. It's interesting you ask. It's a level from professional football, but you're in a
Mhm.
collegiate atmosphere where you have an opportunity to learn, go to class. So it's not quite like the pros. In the pros, it's all day, every day. In college, it's only a certain amount of time, and then you still have to study. And then there are other things that we go through, like learning ourselves, learning about the young ladies on campus, if you know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun learning myself. Now, high school ball is definitely different from college ball. College ball is not the same as high school ball. Again, it's a level up. So you learn a lot about the game. You have to love the game to play the game at the collegiate level. And if you really want to be good at the college level, you have to be dedicated in the sport and the position. You have to watch a whole lot more film. You have to understand the terminology. You have to understand the defenses. You have to know the coaches. You have to understand the politics. You have to really learn your teammates, and that you play for each other. High school's a little different
Yep.
in that you don't spend a lot of time doing all those things that I just mentioned. But once you get to college, all those things come into play if you want to be any good at all. And even if you just want to be a good teammate, those things come into play.
Do you think there's been changes since you played to the college teams now these days?
Oh my God, yes. The kids,
What do you think the
I call
biggest
them
changes?
kids
Yeah.
because I'm older now, but
Yeah.
the kids are so much bigger. They use iPads to study plays. Uh, the terminology is different, but football never changes. Football
Yeah.
is still throw, catch, run. So anytime you're doing those three things and you do them well, and understanding what you need to do in the situation you're in when you're a collegiate football player, of course you'll have an opportunity to take that next step and play, in the NFL, the CFL, or the XFL, which I've also had the opportunity to call
Yep.
games for. But I can tell you that you must understand what you're doing at the collegiate level and take care of your business in the class as well as on the field.
What do you think the best advice you can give those young college kids that are just coming in to play in college ball? Because you said there is a lot about finding yourselves and the whole new experience of being in a college atmosphere. What is the best advice you can give them to stay focused in the game?
Take it seriously, but have fun. Understand
Mm.
your coaches, get to know your coaches really well, and get to know your teammates, because the people who you meet now, especially in college, will probably be lifelong friends. And you want to play for those teammates. I began to understand that, and that is why, especially as a freshman, and that is why I still have those relationships that I have with a lot of my teammates from Southern Miss, from Los Padanos College. In fact, the deputy athletic director here at Rice is a guy who I played junior college ball with in California. So those relationships last a long time. My
Yeah.
quarterback at Southern Miss is a guy who was the athletic director at Southern Miss when I was working here, while I was working here at Rice, and we would go there and conference. We're in conference USA. They've since changed conferences, but since that time, I've had a chance to go visit with him when Rice would go to play Southern Miss, and it was always good to see Jeff Hammond. He was an incredible human being, and certainly is today. He spent 32 years of his life protecting his country, and he
Yeah.
retired as a two-star general. Those
Wow.
relationships last a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there one moment that when you think back of all your years playing that really sticks out in your head as a pivotal moment for you? Some sort of moment where you really bonded with a certain person on your team?
Well, I can think of one particular moment where I bonded with the entire team. I was a freshman,
Okay.
and we were going through what we call Oklahoma drills, and that's when you have one particular player blocking for you, and you're trying to run through a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, and you don't have a whole lot of space. What they do, they put pads on both sides of you, and you have to run through those pads behind the blocking of that teammate. And one of my teammates from high school, Larry Harrington, played tight end for Southern Miss, was actually blocking for me. And I was going up against one guy who I actually grew up with, who was a couple years older than I. And he ended up playing for the St. Louis Cardinals at that particular time. Kind of gives you an idea of my age. But they are now the Phoenix Cardinals, if you will.
Yep.
He knocked me out in practice. and that's when I bonded
Oh,
with the
no.
entire team. And it was a recruiting trip for a lot of the high school players in that area at that particular point in time. And one of them just happened to be a guy who I was growing up with. He was a year younger, and
Yeah.
Southern Miss was recruiting him. He's no longer with us, J.J. Stewart, but he was there, and I could hear him from across the field laughing at me because I got knocked out. And at that time, Joe, they didn't have what is called concussion protocol.
Oh, for
All
sure they
they had,
didn't.
no. They get up, they pick you up, and they sit you on a bench and let you relax for a few minutes, and then you're back at practice. So there were lots of times, and by the way, at that particular time, Mac Brown, to kind of give you some idea, Mac Brown was the wide receivers coach at Southern Miss. So that kind of
Really?
tells you how far back that goes. Yeah.
Oh, that is a
Yeah.
great story, I love it.
Yeah.
Did you have a nickname playing ball?
I had a couple. One of
Okay,
them
let's hear
I'm
it.
embarrassed. One of them I'm embarrassed to give you because at the time guys in
There
college
must be
pretty
a good
big.
backstory behind it.
I was known more for my speed, and so
Yep.
one of my nicknames was Speedy. But I will tell you that one of the nicknames that some of my teammates gave me before I put on the additional 15 pounds was French Fry. And so they called me French Fry until I put on that 15 pounds of muscle, my
Yeah.
freshman year in college, and all that changed.
Oh, those are two awesome nicknames. So, okay, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing now. You do the morning show on Fox 26 Houston. How is that? How did you get starting with them? Started with them.
It's a lot of work. I am the morning sports anchor reporter. Oftentimes I'm in the field. There are times when I am at the anchor desk. It's a lot of fun. I've been there to be 10 years and 2023, but I've actually been in the business for over 30. So I've done TV, regional television, national television, football broadcasts mostly, and a lot of radio, local radio as well as national radio, some podcasts as well. But I will tell you that that job is very demanding. I love it. I love what we do. We cover all of our professional sports here. We cover the college sports. We also cover the high school sports. I host or have a couple of special segments where I am featuring the high school kids. It's called Making the Grade, where you have your best, most brightest student athletes, and they have very, very high GPAs, 3.5 or better. They're doing well on the court, the field of play, or the wherever they're playing. They do extremely well. They're also doing well in the classroom, and we feature them on specific days. And then there's Player of the Week. And I don't know if you know anything about Texas high school football, but generally, you know,
Not too much.
in
No.
Texas, in Tech,
Yeah.
well, let me give you a sample. In Texas, really good players, they don't score two, three, or four touchdowns. They score 5 and 6 touchdowns, in some cases seven.
Wow.
They're returning punts and kickoffs for touchdowns. This is no lightweight football down here. High
Yeah.
school football in
I
Texas
knew
is very,
that.
very serious. You get a running back who may go for 230 yards and 6 touchdowns. Devon Chain at Texas A&M. In fact, he was one of my player of the year, I want to say. In one particular game, he went for 7 touchdowns and rushed for over 250 yards. And this is a guy who did this against the number 5 ranked team in the state of Texas. So I'm telling you,
Crazy.
it's got to be light competition for them to win that award each week. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And so we do all of that, plus obviously cover our Texans and our Astros, as well as our Dynamo and our Rockets. And we've also got the World Cup now. You know, the World Cup's coming here in 2026. So
Yeah.
we've got World Cup coverage every day.
Definitely lots of great things going on down there in Texas. What's your favorite part about your job?
Whoo! Uh, I think probably bonding with the people I cover
I
more than
bet.
anything else. You know, long after sports is gone, the relationships they remain. And so just like you and I are bonding right now,
Yeah.
we'll have a relationship once this is done. And by the way, thank you for asking me to do your show. This is how you create relationships. Oftentimes I'm out in the city. I'm doing radio shows. I'm doing television shows. I'm doing it all. And I will go and do a radio show with another radio station here in town. I will take the TV with me, and we'll do radio all morning long. And one of my good
Yeah.
friends is a former quarterback in the city, and oftentimes I'm sorry, he played for the Minnesota Vikings, but we
Yeah.
often do a lot of radio and TV on his show. So we do a lot. We do a lot to make sure
Love
that we
it.
cover all of our professional, college, and high school sports in the city.
I love it. I love your passion behind everything you're doing. You're putting out such great work. If you could do anything else, is there anything else that if you weren't doing this job, what you do now, that
I
you could think
coach.
that you would do? You'd
Yeah, I
coach.
coach. I would probably
Love it.
coach. Um, and it wouldn't matter at what level. My daughter was a three-sport athlete. I love coaching her when she was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Oh.
13, 14. That was a lot of fun with those girls.
Yeah.
I coached them, and to this day, they call me Coach Nate, which is kind of cool. Now, I look at the high school kids and I have a lot of fun with the high school kids and the two segments I just explained to you.
Yep.
Probably would like coaching high school, but then there's also the collegiate kids, and I work with a lot of collegiate kids now. So it's a whole lot of fun here at Rice and also University of Houston and Houston Christian University, as well as Texas Southern and Prairie View A&M University. All the kids are great, and it's really good to be around them all.
I love it. You gave such great advice to the college kids. Is there any last words that you'd like to give to any high school students that are big into playing football, want to move on to that college level, and just don't know if they're going to make it? Is there any words of wisdom you could give them?
Well, I think most importantly, make every day a memory. I think back to when I was in high school, and I think about my coaches, I think about my teachers, I think about my teammates, I think about my friends, and I remember on several days there was this hamburger spot in Hattiesburg. I grew up in Hattiesburg. I was born in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, but I grew up in Hattiesburg. It's this hamburger spot called Frost Top, and we used to go to Frost Top after school, after practice, grab a hamburger and head home, or grab a hot dog and head home. And to be honest with you, there are lots of days when you're at practice, lots of games you play, lots of things you do, whether you're in the band or whatever it is you do, whether you're a cheerleader or whether you're just a student at the game. There are lots of things you do, but those memories and the bonds that you create, those are the ones that stay with you the most. And yeah, you have great games and you have great moments, but it's the bond that you create with friends that really make it worth all the while. So I would tell any high school student, make everything you do a memory. Don't rush through it. They want to rush through high school,
Yeah.
and get to college and then leave college and then go to be grown and pay bills and those. You don't have one bill to pay. You have no worries at all. Now, I
Yeah.
know there are some situations that are different than others. I understand that everyone is not quite as fortunate as the other person, but still, you can make it a memory by enjoying your high school time. And I know there are probably a lot of hungry kids out there too that don't get to eat. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you got to tell somebody, you got to let somebody know, speak up, and maybe there's somebody who can help you. So I tell everyone, make it a memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Such great words of wisdom to those high school kids. And happy holidays. Got happy holidays here in from Gil. I really appreciate your time today, Nate. Big Thanksgiving plans tomorrow?
Actually, we have the morning show, and I know that my wife is helping my daughter cook her meal. She's at her apartment right now. And
Nice.
so I don't know what I'm getting for Thanksgiving tomorrow, but I do know it'll be fun once I'm done with the morning show. I'm just going to come home and watch football. Dallas Cowboys are
Absolutely.
playing tomorrow, I do believe. Texas team.
You taking Dallas to get that nice win?
I like Dak. I like
Yeah.
Dak. And CD Lamb is from a local high school here in the Houston area, Foster High School. And so, we always take a look at what he's doing. Always run his highlights anytime he catches a touchdown. I'm doing something, with
Yeah.
CD. And I got the fortunate opportunity. Rice played Mississippi State in the Liberty Bowl when Dak was the quarterback, and Bernard
Oh, wow.
McKinney was the starting linebacker at. He played for the Houston Texans as well. He was a starting quarterback at Mississippi State. So special relationships there. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at the Dallas Cowboys. I wouldn't say I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I would say I'm a Dak and CD Lamb fan.
I love it. Can't knock you for that, Nate. I want to thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. It was an absolute pleasure to hear your stories. I can't wait to hopefully have you on again. I'd love to hear more about your memories growing up and playing ball and everything that you've done. So thank you. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you for having me on. Best of luck to you and happy Thanksgiving.